That was my last slide. Let's see about the time. 12 after 9. Well, a little bit more time, 10 minutes more, but I hope you are okay with it. I stop with sharing my screen. And let's see if we can do some interaction now. I open the chat. If you have, well, if there is something you really want to know now, if something is really not clear, please open your microphone and ask the question. And if you think, oh, maybe this can be, this is a small question or can later, then please type it in the chat and I will come back to it later. Anyone who wants to say something? Aha, the question in the chat is, should we shut down our camera? But I think you did, Sven. So, is there any question about the things I showed in this presentation? It's impossible that I was totally clear. My English is not that good. So there should be things.
Rob, I would like to ask something, Dick, here.
Yes.
Interesting story about skating up and down. And you started with an example of Overijs. If you encounter Overijs on a lake, would you drive up or drive down then? If you go up, it can be harder. If you go down, it can be water. Depends it on the ice thickness, or what would your guess be?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Dick. It all depends on the margin you have, I think, in the thickness of the ice you are currently.
All right. Yeah.
If it's thick enough that you can take the guess that you can drive down, that there are still lakes with thinner ice, but thick enough ice, then I would drive down, because chances on newer lakes are bigger that there was the water was pouring down by slughole on the lakes. The water was flowing away, and on thicker ice lakes probably there was even more slush or whatever that refroze, and there might still be overease. But well, if you don't have margin, if you are already on really thin ice with overease and you don't have margin to drive down, then you should drive up, and not just a little bit, but drive up a lot, that you come into more cold weather or even above the clouds or something, or fog. And then you have, when the lake had more frost, then you have a small chance that the overease is already refrozen away.
Clear, thank you.
Yes. Okay, now questions come in. That's nice. The Sentinel data, do I find it on ScriptConnect? Yeah, that's a good question too. Well, yes, there is on the ScriptConnect map. If you click on East Information and then Karta, and then on the right upper corner, you can click on Sentinel Mosaic. And then you get Sentinel-2 pictures. But there is a pitfall with that too. The Sentinel Mosaic, it's not just one picture. It's built up of multiple pictures. And those pictures can be from different dates. So you don't exactly know to which date you look if you look at the mosaic. And I know that the developers on ScriptConnect are working on a second functionality that shows only one picture at a time on the map from Sentinel-2, and then you know exactly from which date it is, so then you can't mess up. But for now, I would recommend to use Copernicus browser, because then you exactly know from which date the satellite picture is that you look at. That was the question from Åsa Abel. And then the question from Jan Bart. If you see black ice on satellite images, how to know if it's probably thick enough? Yeah, that's a good question too. You don't know that. After one night it might be black, but usually we do not go over one night ice, no. But that's why in the example of Beswatnet, why I said we waited for 2 nights more, and we were watching the actuals for if there was no snow in the area. And then we made the guess that the ice would still be black, but with 2 cold nights more. Yeah, and Beswatnet is on 1,300 meters above sea level. And then you know a cold night is a real cold night, a clear night is a real cold night, that's what I mean. Then you can guess that the ice gained at least 6, 7, 8 centimeters, and in reality it was even more. We had 12 centimeters of black ice on Beswatnet, so that was more than enough. So that's the trick with satellite pictures. You see something, if you think it just started, then you wait 1 night extra. Mats is asking, do you generally use paper maps or do you use digital maps? I use both, Mats, still. I have all digital maps on my mobile phone. That's the app is called Topo GPS, and in Topo GPS you can load the best maps of Sweden, Norway and Finland. That's the Norges card from Norway and the Landmeteriet card from Sweden, and the Finnish map, the Finnish map. And it is €4, so it's about 30 kronor one time, not per year, but one time per country. And then you have the best maps in Topo GPS on your mobile phone. But I still use the paper maps too, because I bring them because during the evening in the Wanderhem, in your sleeping place, it is so nice to be around the table with your group and show in which area you are and for what lakes you go tomorrow. And you have a much better oversight of the area with the old paper map. So actually I use both. Okay. Then Rodrigo, the recording be available? Yeah, well, I have put on the recording. I have done that before with other sessions. The file of the recording is sometimes so big that it's hard to handle. The HLSK website is not taking more than 2 gigabytes files, so I can't promise anything. Maybe I have to split it up in shorter things. I will let you know. Then picture from Sven. If you look at Beswatnet in Sentinel-2 now, you can see some thin green areas. Do you know what? Yeah. I haven't looked at this particular picture from September, but often when you see green areas, it's some kind of reflection on the water. It happens a lot of times with Mälaren too, that there is some kind of fake green feathers. Sometimes it looks like feathers, but it's in my experience most of the times it's the reflection on still water, so water without wind. But if you find out anything else about that, please let me know, because it's yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes.
Fine.
Jan is so kind to post the Copernicus link. Yes, thank you, Jan. And that's in response to Åsa. Yeah. Gerard is asking, can you tell more about the use of social media like Facebook? Well, yes. In my experience, that after Skritskonet, I think you can find the place where you can find the most pictures or posts about lakes is Facebook. after Facebook, I think it's Instagram, and after Instagram, it's Strava. But there is one big problem with all this social media, and the first thing is that you have to know in which group you or which user you should follow. And on Facebook, for instance, in the north of Sweden, there are a lot of Facebook groups, and it's time consuming to read all those information there. And the other, because there is a second problem, and that is that often people post something like, I had a great skating day, and then with a picture of marvelous black ice. And then other people start to ask, which lake is it? And then they type in a name of the lake, and then it turns out that there is 3 lakes with the same name in the area, but that happens a lot in the north. And then people have to ask, which Stoergeun do you mean? Or which Abbortjärn do you mean? And then people start answering that, and then it's even more stuff to read. So I only use the other social media if Skridskonet or the satellite pictures don't give me an answer. That's the short answer to your question, Gerard. I see that Osa has seen the link of Jan. That's good too. And then Gert-Jan is asking, are there situations that you use Sentinel-1 instead of Sentinel-2 as starting point? Yes and no. You can use Sentinel-1 sometimes if you are really sure that it is ice. But you can't be sure from Sentinel-1 alone that it is ice, because if there is water on a lake and it's wind still, there is no wind at all, then the water is as smooth as the ice would be, and you can't see any difference. So for the start of a lake or the start of a season, it's hard to use Sentinel-1. That's my opinion. You always have to have some kind of assurance that it's really ice. And on Sentinel-2, it's already difficult to see the difference between black ice and water. But on Sentinel-1, it's even harder. And also the scale of the smoothness, it's not often clear if it's snow or no snow or a bit snow, or yeah. I like Sentinel-2 much better than Sentinel-1. That's the short answer. Okay. Also I saying Tournetresque looks good. Well, it's my experience is that Tournetresque is, it looks good as a lake. It's a very nice lake to skate, but my experience that in beginning of October, Tournetresque is still open because it's such a big lake that is not cooled down yet below 4 degrees, I think. Tournetresque most of the times is later in season that ice comes. So if it looks good on a satellite picture, it's probably something else than ice. Any other questions? We have 4 minutes left.
Do you hear me? Can I ask a question like this?
Sorry, Gerard, yes, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, there's a big echo in my voice now.
Maybe you have two. Do you have 2 devices on, your mobile phone and your laptop?
No, not for mobile phone.
Okay.
I don't know. No.
Can you repeat it once more?
Just a minute. I try to solve it. I think I solved it now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you if you talk slowly, because there still is the echo in it.
No. Yeah, no. It doesn't.
Try again.
Well, I try to make my point anyway.
Yes. No, I turned off one of your microphones, so you could try again.
Aha. Yes, try again, Gerard. Now it's better.
I turned off the wrong one. I have a 50% chance.
Okay, while Gerard is doing his microphone, maybe someone else has... Ah. Is there a shortcut to translate Finnish language in ScritsConnect? Yes, there is, Gerard, and it's brand new in ScritsConnect. If you go, for instance, to a report that is written in Finnish, and you put your flag in the upper right corner in ScritsConnect to Dutch, then the Finnish report will automatically be translated to Dutch. You still see the Finnish text, but if you scroll down, you will see the Dutch text. And this goes for all languages now. Also, the Swedish reports will be translated to Dutch if you put your flag to Dutch. Yes, yeah, that's a big enhancement. And ScritsConnect is using DeepL as an engine for translation, and that's even better than Google Translate. So, and we are working on integrating the translation table into DeepL so that ScritsConnect knows that Sharon is zwart ijs in Dutch and black ice in English, and then you don't get those funny translations anymore from the translations machine. So it's going in the right direction with ScritsConnect translations. Yeah. Okay. Final question, maybe. Maybe not about ice finding, but about ScritsConnect, because there's a lot of interest. Yeah. Annalou, where do you look for good, proper weather actuals that do not use the T0 forecast? Yes, good question. Well, it is different for each country, I have to say. That's a bit difficult, of course. For Sweden, the thermometers on ScritsConnect works very well because they gather information from both SMAI and Trafikverket, and that are real measurements, and they not only show the temperature but also the at least the Trafikverket thermometers on the map of ScritsConnect. They show the rain and snow that fell with different colors, and the Trafikverket thermometers also show not only the temperature at 2 meters high, so above the ground, but also the temperature at ground level, most of the times next to the road, where the measurement point is. And the difference in those two temperatures, that tells something about the uitstraling, about the radiation, because if the temperature at ground level is much lower than the normal temperature at 2 meters high, then it's often the case that it's clear sky. So you can deduct cloudiness and clear sky from the thermometers on ScritsConnect that have two temperatures in them, two lines for the temperatures, one blue and one yellow. So for Sweden, the thermometers are very good. For Norway, the UR.no site has, if you go to the map and you click somewhere on a place name, then you can go to Historiek, and then you get a tab page with all the weather measurements from the last You can choose the last 24 hours, the last 30 days, or the whole last year. So in Norway, I use ur.no for the actuals. The Finnish weather site also have something like that. You have to click on a place, and then with a deep dive, you can get to the actuals. For the overall actuals in Europe, so that can also be used in Holland and in Germany and in the Czech Republic. I use the weather amateurs that they are connected on a website. I can type it in the. That's this out in the chat. www.wonderground.com. Weather Underground. And there are all weather amateurs that have a measure station at home. They are connected, and if you go to the map on wonderground.com, you can click on each individual station, and then you see the actuals for that area, for that measure point. So that's a very nice site to use. They are weather amateurs, of course. That means that sometimes their equipment is not working for a day or so, and then they repair it, and then it works again. So there is interruption in the measuring of the data, but there are so many that you can still use it. Joris is typing, you also said, but then it's, what do you mean? You also said, je noemde ook. I don't understand, Joris, what you typed. Yeah, maybe it comes later.
Ja, je noemde ook de wind of de site SMAI, Rob.
Yeah, smai.se is that. That's the Swedish Meteorological Institute, like we have knni.nl. Yes. Gerard writes, on Windy you can also find history of weather stations. Yes, that's true, but but you have to be careful with that, because if you start Windy and in the overview you can on the right side click on temperature, for instance, and that's what you see. Then it's not measured temps, it's T0 from the forecast. You have to really dive in, zoom in and click on a place, and then you can find if they have a contract with that country about the weather stations. Then you can get some detailed information. But your first impression from Windy is not the real measurement. Gert-Jan, a very last question, but there is already a question after you. Are cameras, I think you mean webcams, useful as well for actuals? How much do you use them? How do you value them? Yeah, the webcams. Yeah, they are one of the tools you can use in the cycle, of course. You can see interesting things on webcams, like has it been snowing? Is the lake closed? If there is a lake visible on the webcam? But my experience with webcams that it's time consuming, and if you are out there and you have to take a look, it's not only just clicking the webcam, it's also scrolling through the history, because most of the time when you are in the evening in the Wanderham, and if you start clicking webcams, you get dark pictures because of the latest picture is in the evening. You have to scroll to previous hours. And if you have to do that for multiple webcams, then it takes more time than looking up the actuals, I think. But still, when you're at home in the few days before your multi-day trip starts, then it can be very useful, the webcams. Then Erik Schindkreen. Have you tried to look at the private weather stations by Netatmo? Yes. The Netatmo map. Yeah, that's something like Wunderground, but it's the other. I think, if I'm right, it's so that the Netatmo, that's a brand of weather station that you can buy at home for using at home, and they are connected on one map. But most of them are also on the Wunderground map. Wunderground is sponsored by IBM, and it's weather station brand independent, as far as I know. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. Yes. Okay. Well, it's 20 minutes before 10. Well, I think that's a decent how do you make it? Outloop. I said 1.5 hours, but it has become 1 hour and 40 minutes. I hope you don't mind. Yeah, Christer-san, yes, that was Christer's name in Japan. See you on the ice, yes, let's hope. And I hope to see you all on the ice, by the way. And it was the first time for me to invite other clubs as well. And please, if you have any tips or suggestions for presentations, send me a mail or and I will respond to you. My email address is on the last slide of this presentation. The link to the presentation you can find on the Tuuruitlistening, which is now still visible on ScritsConnect. Tomorrow, if you want to see it, that's another tip for ScritsConnect. If you go to the Tuuruitlistening, you can click on previous announcements, and then you can still find this Tuuruitlistening for today, and then you'll find the link too. So, well, that's it. Thank you for all the nice words in the chat. Yes, Jan, you are right. Special greetings to all our Swedish friends. Yes, maybe this is a good moment to say that we appreciate so much that we are so welcome in Sweden to skate from Holland. We had the ice in the old days, in the previous century, but we don't have the ice anymore. Or if we have it, it's just a few days. So we are so glad from Haleska that we have Scandinavia as our target area. It's very nice to meet you on the ice too. Well, thanks everybody, and hope to see you on the ice.